So the number one thing that will put an employer off is a large gap in a CV. Now, what I would evidence in that gap is on your CV, first things first, I would put in the reason on there. So whatever reason is, searching for employment, took time out, took a career break, cared for a sick relative, I would put the time and dates in there on your CV as if it was a job. And if it's a very large gap, you obviously need to explain it in detail. But if it's a 3 month period, you can say took time out to travel. Um, and yeah, you could put you studied in that time as well, or evidence something that you've done which will allude to, a career progression as well for yourself. Um, so definitely do that first of all. Now, how you answer the question or evidence your sort of answer is dependent on your situation. I mean, most times people would have a gap in their CV because they're looking for work. And what really the employer wants to know is why exactly haven't you found work in that time? Because good candidates can find jobs very easily. And it could be a time where you've gone for loads of interviews in that time and then something has flagged up and no employer wants to hire you. So that's the sort of impression that they get. So you want to put their mind at ease with your answer. So obviously go through your CV before the interview as well. Act like you're the employer and pick out a gap. If there's a 3 month gap, if there's a 2 month gap, if there's a 2 year gap, evidence it, explain why, and have strong answers. So if you've had a gap which is a year or two, obviously explain what you've done in that time and not just why. So you could say, look, I was traveling in that time. So yeah, you would establish, look, it was a pre-booked plan and my current employer, I gave them advance notice. I tied up all my loose ends before actually embarking on my traveling. Most commonly, if you're looking for a job in that time, you want to establish why you've actually haven't found employment. So you could say after, working for 4 years, I did take a 3 month gap. 2 months of that was actually, I was caring for my family. I was spending time with my family because obviously I was working 60 hours previously. So in that time, I've used it to catch up and I spent a lot of time with my family. And that's a very strong answer, believe it or not. A lot of employers will have families or they will like that answer, but still extend on that and just say, look, I've only been looking for the last 2 weeks. So in that way, the employer actually sees it as, wow, he's only been looking for 2 weeks. And yeah, chances are that he hasn't been to many interviews. You could say, this is the first interview I've actually been on since I've actually, have been out of employment. And just evidence your answer. Be honest in your answer. If you do have a tough time sort of formulating a question, I know everyone's sort of situation will be quite dynamic. Leave a comment below. I'll be happy to give you advice as to why as well, from a recruiter's point of view and a hiring manager's point of view.